Hey there, viewers. Before you even think about skipping this video, let me tell you something important. What you're about to hear isn't just another generic list of personality traits. This is a deep dive into human nature, inspired by the wisdom of ancient Stoic philosophers who understood the human condition better than most people do today. Imagine for a moment Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Roman emperors, sitting in his tent during a military campaign, writing down insights about human character. He wasn't just ruling an empire, he was studying the very essence of what makes people truly good or terrible. And that's exactly what we're going to explore today. I want you to stay till the end, because this isn't just about pointing fingers. This is about self-reflection, personal growth, and understanding the complex nature of human behavior. Each sign I'm about to share isn't just a criticism. It's an opportunity for profound, personal transformation. The ancient Stoics believed that true character isn't determined by what happens to you, but by how you respond to life's challenges. Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the most influential philosophers, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Keep this wisdom in mind as we unpack these signs. Let's begin with the first sign of a terrible person: chronic victimhood. Sign 1, chronic victimhood, the blame game weave. All met people who seem to be perpetually trapped in a cycle of misery, always pointing fingers, never taking responsibility. These are the individuals who transform every single life event into a narrative of personal persecution. They're the masters of the blame game, turning their lives into an endless drama where they're always the helpless protagonist. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, had profound insights into this behavior. He wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Think about that for a moment. People stuck in chronic victimhood are essentially prisoners of their own mindset, unable to recognize their power to change and grow. What does chronic victimhood look like? It's the colleague who never takes accountability for missed deadlines. It's the friend who constantly complains about relationships but never examines their own patterns. It's the person who sees the world as a conspiracy designed to work against them specifically. These individuals have a remarkable talent for transforming every setback into a personal tragedy. Lost a job? It's because the world is unfair. Relationship ended? Everyone else is to blame. They construct elaborate narratives that absolve them of any personal responsibility. Marcus Aurelius warned about this exact mentality when he wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Chronic victims do the exact opposite. They surrender their mental power, believing they're helpless against external circumstances. The Stoic philosophy fundamentally rejects this victim mentality. It teaches us that while we cannot control external events, we have complete control over our perceptions, judgments, and responses. A person trapped in victimhood refuses to accept this fundamental truth. Consider this. Every single time you blame someone or something else for your circumstances, you're giving away your personal power. You're declaring to the universe that you're passive, that you have no agency in your own life's trajectory. But here's the transformative insight. The moment you stop seeing yourself as a victim and start seeing yourself as the author of your life story, everything changes. You become proactive instead of reactive. You start making choices instead of making excuses. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. But my problems are real. My challenges are legitimate. And you're absolutely right. The Stoics never suggested that challenges aren't real. They simply proposed that your response to those challenges defines your character. Epictetus put it brilliantly, there is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. In other words, focus on what you can control, your attitudes, your efforts, your responses, and let go of what you cannot. So how do you know if you're falling into the chronic victim trap? Ask yourself these questions. Do I spend more time explaining why something can't be done or actually trying to do it? Do I look for solutions or do I collect problems like some people collect stamps? Am I growing or just complaining? Breaking free from victimhood isn't about toxic positivity. It's about honest self-reflection, taking responsibility, and understanding that your narrative is something you write, not something that happens to you. Stay with me, because the next sign is going to challenge everything you think you know about human relationships and character. Sign 2, emotional manipulation. The puppeteer of relationships. If chronic victimhood is the first warning sign of a terrible person, emotional manipulation is the dark art of psychological control that tears relationships apart from the inside. Let me paint a picture for you. Emotional manipulators are like psychological magicians, constantly pulling invisible strings, creating elaborate illusions that make you question your own perception of reality. They don't just interact with people, they orchestrate elaborate, emotional landscapes where they're always the puppet master. Seneca once wrote, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his power." Emotional manipulators do the exact opposite. They seek power by controlling others' emotions, destroying their sense of self-worth and autonomy. What does emotional manipulation look like? It's subtle. It's the partner who uses guilt as a weapon, making you feel responsible for their happiness. It's the friend who weaponizes their own vulnerability to extract sympathy and control. It's the family member who plays the martyr, constantly reminding you of all they've done for you, creating an invisible debt you can never fully repay. These individuals are masters of emotional alchemy. They can transform your genuine care into guilt, your kindness into obligation, your love into a form of psychological imprisonment. They don't build relationships. They construct emotional mazes where you're constantly trying to prove your worth. Marcus Aurelius provided profound insight into this behavior when he said, "You always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control." Emotional manipulators violate this principle completely. They live to control, to trouble souls, to create intricate webs of emotional dependency. Think about the classic manipulation tactics, the silent treatment, gaslighting, playing the victim while simultaneously being the aggressor. These are not just communication styles. They're calculated strategies designed to erode your boundaries and self-confidence. But here's the Stoic perspective that can liberate you. Your emotional response is your choice. No matter how skillfully someone tries to manipulate you, you have the power to recognize the manipulation and choose your reaction. Epictetus would remind us, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them." In the context of emotional manipulation, this means the manipulator's tactics only work if you allow them to work. Your perception, your understanding, your internal strength, these are your true defenses. Let me break down the red flags of emotional manipulation. First, manipulators are expert storytellers. They don't just tell you a narrative, they craft an entire emotional universe where you're constantly questioning yourself. They'll rewrite history, twist facts, make you doubt your own memories. Second, they use your emotions as currency. Your guilt, your love, your compassion. These become tools they trade with, extracting maximum psychological benefit. They don't see emotions as genuine human connections, but as resources to be exploited. Third, they're masters of playing the victim while being the aggressor. They'll hurt you and then make you feel guilty for being hurt. They'll violate your boundaries and then convince you that you're the one being unreasonable. The Stoic response to manipulation is not anger or hatred. It's detachment combined with clear-eyed understanding. It's recognizing the manipulation without letting it consume your inner peace. Imagine building an internal fortress so strong that no emotional manipulation can penetrate it. A fortress built not with walls of anger or resentment, but with understanding, self-respect, and unwavering principles. This doesn't mean becoming cold or unfeeling. The Stoics weren't about suppressing emotions, but about understanding them. They believed in feeling deeply while not being controlled by those feelings. As we move forward in this exploration of human character, I want you to pay close attention, because the next sign we'll discuss is something that destroys relationships faster than you can imagine. A trait so toxic that it can rot the very foundation of human connection. Sign 3, lack of empathy. The emotional void. We've arrived at perhaps the most critical sign of a terrible person, a complete absence of empathy. This isn't just about being inconsiderate. This is about a fundamental inability to understand or connect with the emotional experiences of others. Imagine a person who moves through the world like a ghost, seeing people, but never truly seeing them. They observe human suffering as if watching a distant, irrelevant movie. No connection, no feeling, just cold, detached observation. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." But for someone lacking empathy, listening isn't just a physical impossibility. It's a concept they fundamentally cannot comprehend. Let me be crystal clear about what true empathy means. It's not just feeling sorry for someone. It's the ability to step into another person's emotional shoes, to understand their pain, their joy, their struggles, not from your perspective, but from theirs. It's a profound act of human connection that separates genuine human beings from those who are emotionally hollow. The Stoics understood empathy as a fundamental human virtue. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I'm about to criticize?" This is empathy in its purest form, the ability to see yourself in another, to understand before you judge. People without empathy have a terrifying superpower. They can cause immense emotional damage without feeling an ounce of remorse. They're like emotional robots, programmed to interact but never to truly connect. Watch for these red flags of someone lacking empathy. First, they turn every conversation into a competition. Your pain? They've had it worse. Your achievement? They can do better. Your struggle? They have a solution that completely dismisses your actual experience. Second, they collect people like accessories. Relationships are transactional. What can you do for them? They don't form connections. They form strategic alliances. When you're no longer useful, you're discarded without a second thought. Third, they have an extraordinary ability to rationalize their most destructive behaviors. Hurt someone? There's always a logical explanation. Betray a trust? It was necessary. Cause emotional pain? You're too sensitive. Seneca provided profound wisdom about human connection when he said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." For someone lacking empathy, this isn't just a missed opportunity. It's a concept they cannot comprehend. But here's the transformative insight. Empathy is a skill. It can be learned. It requires practice, vulnerability, and a genuine desire to understand others beyond your own limited perspective. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that true strength isn't about being invulnerable. It's about being open, understanding, capable of feeling deeply while maintaining inner balance. An empathetic person doesn't just survive the world, they contribute to making it more bearable for others. As we continue our journey through the signs of a terrible person, I want you to understand something profound. These aren't just characteristics to judge others by. They're mirrors, opportunities for profound self-reflection. The next sign we'll explore is something that destroys potential faster than anything else. It's a character trait so insidious that it can turn opportunities into dust, relationships into ashes, and dreams into distant memories. Stay with me, because what's coming next will challenge everything you think you know about personal growth and human potential. Sign 4: persistent negativity. The emotional vampire. We've arrived at a sign that can drain the life force out of everything it touches. Persistent negativity. This isn't just about having a bad day or experiencing occasional pessimism. This is about individuals who have transformed negativity into an art form, a lifestyle, a toxic worldview that consumes everything around them. Imagine a person who walks into a room and suddenly the oxygen seems to get thinner. The light appears to dim. Hope becomes a distant memory. These are the emotional vampires, individuals who don't just see the glass as half empty, but completely shattered, irreparable, and a testament to the universe's fundamental unfairness. Marcus Aurelius provided a profound perspective on this when he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Persistent negative. Individuals do the exact opposite. They surrender their mental power, believing the world is conspiring against them, that misery is not just inevitable, but somehow noble. Let me paint a vivid picture of persistent negativity. It's the colleague who turns every team meeting into a funeral, the friend who can find a problem in the most beautiful sunset, the family member who treats optimism like a foreign language they refuse to learn. These individuals don't just experience negativity, they cultivate it, they water it, they give it sunlight and nutrients. Their negative thoughts aren't passing clouds, they're entire weather systems that create emotional hurricanes wherever they go. Epictetus once said, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will." Persistent negative people have never understood this fundamental wisdom. They don't just worry, they turn worrying into an Olympic sport, complete with gold medals in catastrophizing and silver medals in self-sabotage. Watch for these red flags of persistent negativity. First, they have an encyclopedic knowledge of everything that could possibly go wrong. Ask them about a potential opportunity and they'll provide a 500-page dissertation on why it will fail, complete with footnotes and worst-case scenarios. Second, they drain energy from everyone around them. Conversations with them aren't dialogues, they're emotional black holes where hope and positivity go to die. They don't seek solutions, they celebrate problems. Third, they've made victimhood their primary identity. Every story they tell is a tragedy, every experience a testament to their perpetual misfortune. They don't live life. They endure it, and they want everyone to know just how difficult their endurance is. But here's the transformative insight. Negativity is a choice. It's a lens through which you choose to view the world, and just like any lens, it can be changed. Adjusted, replaced. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that our perception creates our reality. We don't control external events, but we absolutely control how we interpret and respond to them. Persistent negativity is the ultimate rejection of this powerful truth. Seneca brilliantly captured this when he said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Persistent negative individuals live entirely in this imaginary realm of suffering, constructing elaborate mental monuments to their own misery. But here's what they don't understand. Every moment spent in negativity is a moment stolen from potential joy, growth, and transformation. Every complaint is an energy tax that depletes your most valuable resource, your ability to create, to hope, to move forward. As we approach the final sign in our exploration of terrible human characteristics, I want you to understand something profound. These aren't just traits to judge others by. They're invitations to personal growth, to understanding, to becoming better versions of ourselves. The final sign we'll explore is perhaps the most destructive, the most soul-crushing characteristic a person can possess. It's a trait that doesn't just harm others, it fundamentally destroys the very essence of human potential. Stay with me, because what's coming next will be a mirror that reflects not just human weakness, but the incredible potential for transformation. Sign 5, complete lack of personal accountability. The human chameleon. We've reached the final and perhaps most profound sign of a terrible person. An absolute, unwavering refusal to take personal accountability. This isn't just about occasionally avoiding responsibility. This is about individuals who have elevated self-deception to an art form, who can navigate life's complexities without ever acknowledging their own role in their circumstances. Imagine a human being who moves through the world like a chameleon, constantly changing colors to avoid responsibility, never standing firm in their actions, never owning their mistakes. They're masters of deflection, champions of blame shifting, Olympic gold medalists in the art of avoiding personal growth. Epictetus captured the essence of accountability when he said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." But for those without personal accountability, this is an impossible concept. They would rather contort reality than face their own shortcomings. Let me break down what a complete lack of accountability looks like in its most toxic form. These are individuals who have an extraordinary ability to rewrite history. Did something go wrong? There's always an explanation that conveniently removes them from any responsibility. Failed a project? It was the team's fault. Relationship collapsed? Everyone else was the problem. Personal setbacks. The universe is conspiring against them. Marcus Aurelius provided profound insight into this behavior. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. But people without accountability don't want to be good. They want to appear good while doing the minimum possible work of actual personal growth. Watch for these red flags of someone who refuses accountability. First, they're professional excuse manufacturers. Each failure comes with a meticulously crafted narrative that explains why they are not just blameless, but potentially a victim. They don't just dodge responsibility. They turn dodging into an elaborate performance art. Second, they have an external locus of control so pronounced that it becomes almost comical. Nothing is ever their fault. The weather, the economy, their parents, their childhood, the alignment of planets, everything conspires to create their circumstances. Third, they collect grievances like some people collect stamps. Each perceived injustice becomes another piece of evidence in their grand narrative of victimhood. They don't solve problems. They compile a comprehensive portfolio of why solving problems is impossible for them. Seneca understood this psychological mechanism centuries ago when he wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." But for those without accountability, learning is threatening. It requires admitting imperfection, acknowledging mistakes, being vulnerable. The Stoic philosophy presents a radical alternative. True strength isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest. It's about looking at your failures not as indictments, but as opportunities for growth. Accountability isn't about self-punishment. It's about self-liberation. Every time you say, "I made a mistake, I could have done better. This is my responsibility," you're not weakening yourself. You're becoming stronger, more authentic, more human. Consider the transformative power of these simple words. I was wrong. 3 words that can heal relationships, spark personal growth, and fundamentally change your trajectory. But here's the most important insight. These 5 signs aren't just characteristics to judge others by. They're mirrors, they're invitations to look deeply into our own behaviors, our own patterns, our own potential for growth. The Stoics believed that true wisdom comes not from condemning others, but from understanding ourselves, not from pointing fingers, but from extending hands, not from creating distance, but from recognizing our shared human vulnerability. As we conclude this exploration, I want you to understand something profound. Becoming a good person isn't about achieving perfection. It's about the commitment to continuous improvement. It's about having the courage to look at yourself honestly, to acknowledge your flaws, and to work persistently on becoming better. You are not defined by your worst moments. You are defined by your response to those moments, by your willingness to learn, to grow, to transform. This isn't just a list of terrible traits. This is an invitation to rise, an invitation to become more fully, authentically human. Thank you for watching.